Welcome to the Qualified Tutor podcast. Here at QT, our mission is to provide teacher training for tutors. If you are a motivated tutor and you love to learn, the QT podcast will inspire, motivate, and support you to improve your practice. Because tutoring is a small job that makes a big difference. Hello and welcome to our 10th episode of the Qualified Tutor podcast. Today I'm very excited to be joined by Anna Williams-Haynes and Harrison from Orchestra For All, a charity that provides opportunities in music and mentoring for children, students who may not have been able to access tutoring otherwise. So, as we've heard before on this podcast, music is a huge part of the education industry, and it really has huge benefits for opening up students' confidence, for preparing them for playing in concerts and preparing them for life outside of the concert hall, so in the classroom and even in their social lives. So Anna is the head of programs at Orchestra For All and should be giving us a very good overview of what Orchestra For All have been up to in the lockdown period and how they've been able to cope with the changes and what Orchestra For All do in general, looking beyond the current situation. Harrison is an expert trombonist. We're very lucky to have him join us as well, and he is working currently for OFA as an ambassador. So much like our podcast with Matt a few weeks ago, we're hoping this three-way conversation will allow really good ideas to bounce off each other and hopefully a really sort of vibrant conversation. So welcome to both of you. How are you both doing?
Good, thanks, Ludo.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm doing well, thank you, Lido.
Yeah. Thanks very much for having us on.
Yeah, no, not a problem at all. As I was just saying there, we've had a few of these musically orientated sort of angles of education recently, and I think this is a really rich vein to carry on in. So perhaps one of you could just give us a little idea as to what OFA have been doing in the last couple of weeks.
Sure. Well, Orchestra For All are a national youth music charity, and our vision is that we have a United Kingdom where young people face no barriers to music making, and everything that we do is about breaking down barriers to music making for 11 to 18-year-olds. We have 3 programs: the National Orchestra For All, of which Harrison was a member and is now an ambassador. And that's 100 young people all facing some form of barrier to accessing ensemble music making. They come from all over the country and they come together to make music at residential courses and perform and to just change the image of what an orchestra looks like. We also run something called the Modulo programme, which is a programme supporting music teachers and under-resourced schools and communities to start ensembles. And then we also run Conductors to Change, which is a training programme in inclusive ensemble leadership for music teachers and leaders. And so obviously in the last few weeks we have been, like everybody else in the world, really challenged by what's been happening with COVID-19. But it sort of made us really double down on our mission to break down these even higher barriers that a lot of young people are facing to accessing music making at a time when it's not just important in terms of developing their skills, but also it's a really important social and emotional tool and outlet. Yeah,
exactly.
So we've been thinking a lot about how to keep making music meaningful, and we had very early on in April, not long after the lockdown started, we had an opportunity to test out some strategies for supporting young people in their music making. And in place of our planned spring residential course, we ran 3 days of online activities in music making to bring together the National Orchestra For All, to give them opportunities to meet up and chat and share, and then also to make music together. Maybe Harrison can tell us a bit more about what happened.
Harrison, how did that music making go then?
At first, I was talking to a former NOVA member, and we weren't exactly sure how it was going to work. But when we got into the sessions, the tutors started off using music that we'd all seen before rather than something completely new that I was expecting. So, and then in sectionals, we worked together to produce part of the piece we were working on rather than the full thing, because the full thing would have been quite challenging to edit and put together. And that was for the first 2 days. And on the third day, we had an interview session with the composer of the new piece, Lucy Hale. And after that, we had an hour-long recital from some of our members showing off their talents musically to the rest of the group who were there, led by the young leader team, who are a team of 16 to 18-year-olds formed as part of NOFA who have been there for a long time. So they get to work together to put on recitals and organise events for the younger members.
Yeah. And what do you think they gain from that, working with younger members of the organisation?
I would think it's all about leadership qualities. You learn to manage a situation, manage a lot of different people for even if it's just a small amount of time, you get to see how many people work together. And also you get a lot of social skills. So you think how to interact with a different group of people who are not your normal friend and not from the same background as you. And also I think you actually get enrichment in terms of music quality, because you're exploring areas of music that you wouldn't naturally explore if you're just playing on your own or in the normal set ensembles you have back home.
Yeah, well, that's got amazing links, I guess, to the work that a tutor one-on-one does with a student. Allowing that student to access new areas of the subjects and learning that they have that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise have been able to access by themselves. So that kind of leads on to a question that I'd love to ask you both. Perhaps Harrison, you'd like to start us up with this one. What kind of a student are you? Do you think that the kind of student you are helps you with your music? Do you think there are links there that you can take between the two?
I myself, as a student, I would say, well, my grades are pretty good. I work very hard. I always try to do my best. I would say for myself, I would be quite frustrating at times. Obviously, in music, especially trying to do all the things that normal students wouldn't try. So pieces that they would avoid or doing a different exam board for grades. But overall, I think being a good student leads to being a better person overall, musically, and of course in society as well.
Yeah, exactly. Anna, do you say you find agreement in that?
Yeah, I think Orchestra For All, we sort of see young people as musicians in the broader context of their background and their experiences as well. And we're really passionate about the fact that everybody has the potential to be a musician, that lots of people have basically better opportunities and more opportunities to experience that. And we want to open up those opportunities to people that wouldn't necessarily get them through the normal means. So we want to, it's not just about kind of breaking down the immediately obvious barriers in terms of offering instruments or music lessons. It's about thinking about the other barriers that will stop a young person from accessing music education. So thinking about the cost of travel and accommodation, for example, and how to support families to support the young person as well in developing their musicianship. Yeah, exactly. And really it's about, that's where the support comes in, isn't it? That's where thinking about every last detail of how a child or how a student can access music, exactly as you say, that's where organizations with a really close network, that's where they really, really come to the fore. So obviously there's been a large shift in the way that education is delivered, not just classroom education, but all forms of mentoring and training and tutoring. So really, I guess the question I want to ask is, how have OFA and NOFA, National Orchestras For All, been able to cater for this? How have they been able to continue to deliver the work that they do during this period? So I guess the big focus for our online spring course a few weeks ago was how could we deliver some of the same outcomes that we would have aimed for the residential course online, with awareness of the kind of the limitations of delivering music online. It's never going to be as impactful as getting together a room full of 100 musicians and their tutors and sort of making music live together. So we focused on trying to kind of recreate the sense of a sectional rehearsal, where we have individual instrumental tutors working with small groups of young people to help them to improve what they were playing and improve their general musicianship, with the aim of all of the young people recording themselves performing something that would contribute towards a larger kind of virtual performance of a piece of music. And then we also wanted to ensure that the sort of the social emotional well-being side of what we do was a part of the course as well. So we made sure that we built in alongside sectional rehearsals on Zoom, we also wanted to build in time for the orchestra to come together socially, to catch up, to chat, and as Harrison mentioned, to talk to our composer in residence, Lucy Hale, who we've been working with across the year. So that was kind of part of it. I think we learned some big lessons in how to lead Zoom rehearsals and tutorials effectively. And I'm sure that anybody who is working in this way will have also been on a similar journey to the one we've been in terms of how to make sort of Zoom a really functional tool and something that enables really meaningful teaching to go on.
Really, really tricky, I guess, to bridge that, especially with, I can hardly even imagine how tricky it is trying to organize a whole orchestra, which is difficult enough in person. I've been struggling along with tutoring, one-on-one, but you guys have been putting in an amazing shift. Harrison, how have you found the new setup?
It's definitely a lot different to what you'd expect from face-to-face. Obviously, you can. It's more like you're playing one at a time, but in the same time, you can also think and try and work on your own thing. So it kind of creates a balance between, do you want the social aspect of doing it one-on-one in a full room, or doing it by yourself so you can listen to what someone else is doing and try and work out what you're doing at the same time while practicing yourself. And obviously the orchestral tutors get to look across the entire group, and they say, who they want to work with at the specific time, and they can spend more time on those they feel that would need the help, and less time on those who say they seem to be okay.
Yeah,
I guess that's just situational. I guess that works for all tutors. If your student needs more help in certain areas, you're obviously going to spend more time on that rather than stuff they can actually do already.
Exactly.
Yeah. Something we were really encouraged by actually was that in this form of working, we had some feedback that some of the young people we work with who are perhaps more shy or kind of have expressed feeling a little bit intimidated by large-scale rehearsals seem to really thrive actually in Zoom rehearsals, sort of with the safety of being able to mute themselves to practice something and feedback to the tutor that way. We were pleasantly surprised that actually that format was something that worked really well for a lot of young people, and is something that we hope we could sort of continue to find a way to build into what we do even after we're allowed to meet together again.
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to find a mute button in a live performance, then you'll really have succeeded there. Yes, that would be nice. I remember thinking when I took part in NOFA's musical chairs that it would be nice to be able to turn my trumpet on mute while I was playing. But that's actually a very important point of this part about this technology.
Exactly. I think sort of in that rehearsal process and that learning process, just having the safety of feeling kind of like you can practice something without being exposed, but still have the opportunity for feedback is, there's something there that the Zoom format offers.
There are big advantages to it. I guess everyone is working their way through it, and then after a couple of months now, we are able to maybe enhance it a little bit better than we first were. But kind of going on that same theme, what have you guys both seen is, in your experiences with music and education, what is the power of music in that learning process?
I think in education, music gives you a chance to express yourself outside of some more factually based subjects, such as say STEM subjects. you get to explore who you are as a person and explore ideas from other people, which you can much easier to bring together ideas from a group rather than just thinking there's one answer to everything. That's what I've found. And also allows you to learn skills such as presenting for group or performing at a time, which helps you greatly with confidence and self-esteem, which helps you in, say, interviews, work for maybe even exams, with learning to control your adrenaline rush, and that can help you tenfold across the rest of your life. I think it's also important that music plays a role as a sort of escape for your normal life. If your life's really stressful, you're really anxious about a lot of things, you can play music which you enjoy and which you have fun with people. You can have fun with other people, which will help you just relax yourself and help your mental health and also your well-being as well, which is very vital in times such as these where you can't exactly see people face to face. So even just creating something together and doing stuff like podcasts, video calls, things like that will really help you succeed in times where situations look quite dire.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently launched qualified tutor course. The fourth module is going to be wholly centered around SEN and mental health and well-being, because it is such a key part of understanding the relationship between a mentor and a mentee, a tutor and a tutee, an educator and a student, is understanding why they're struggling, the signs of them struggling, how to deal with that, how to factor that into your approach and your style. And the more I see these examples of music and education and the energy and the enthusiasm that brings, and the level of engagement that hearing music brings to a child. School can be dry, school can be monotonous, but tutors, educators who are able to bring music into the kind of the classroom, and in quotation marks, which teachers aren't necessarily able to do, that's massively drives engagement. And actually, maybe you've both kind of said it already, but perhaps there's other bits, other aspects you wanted to point out. What is it that you enjoy most about working with OFA and Harrison, working as an ambassador? Maybe you'd like to kick us off.
I think it's always about seeing that you make friendships in your first or second year, and people when you go through summer residential, you're putting groups with people of the same age as you, so you automatically make friends with them, and then you can spread your groups across the whole orchestra. I've got friends who play in pretty much every single section, and then going back to other courses, you get to meet up with them, see how they're doing. You get to meet an orchestral tutor who you'll see quite a lot of the time. You get to have a different relationship with them, your conductor and the backroom staff. And it's just a really nice environment where you can feel comfortable in yourself and you can explore what you like, what kind of person you are, and make friends with people who you would never naturally be friends with.
Yeah.
I am just kind of constantly overjoyed by seeing young musicians just grow in confidence, not just as musicians, but in themselves. The thing I really love about it is that the young people we work with are as much a part of the team as the staff and the volunteers who we work with. It's a real kind of effort of culture and ethos where everybody invests in it and wants everybody else to succeed, and is really supportive like that. So that's what I love about working for them.
Yeah, and I think that transcends kind of all levels of education and training for young people, is just that slow, because it is slow and it is gradual, and improving self-confidence and engagement and support for students and young people. It doesn't happen overnight. It's slow. It's gradual. You're increasing their positivity. You're day in, day out, you're working with them. So I think that we certainly hear what you've just said, Anna, multiple times over, because it really is. It's the reason why so many people work in education. And actually, for those people, that may be one huge reason for people like yourself, Harrison, who are just kind of leaving school, getting into university, maybe even leaving university. That could be, a huge factor in and of itself, that rewarding nature of seeing the effect you're having. But what are your other kind of top tips for tutors or mentors or educators, musical educators who are starting out in the field, whether it's academics, music, arts, dance? What do you think are your top 2 tips for people looking to get into the industry?
I discussed it before with another group of my friends. We'd said that tutors and mentors play two completely different roles. Tutors, say for music, I think the first idea is to do icebreakers and to get to know your students and how they work. So maybe play a few icebreaker games. If your early lessons, try and learn who they are, what kind of music they like, and what their personality is. And then the second idea will be to maintain engagement within your ideas, so making things fun. And if you've got a challenging repertoire, maybe 1 week out of, say, 4 or 5, bringing something that's meant to be fun and slightly challenging for the person, to make sure they're still working on things that the original repertoire doesn't actually cover. Mm. And mentoring is just, I would say, is all about making the person as well-rounded as possible while improving the skills that the tutor would work on. So I would say as a mentor, you're looking to improve the skills of the player, in music or the dancer, and then also looking to improve their mental health, make sure that they've got professional etiquette so they can work in environments that would naturally be uncomfortable with, but with preparation and time, they can be well adjusted to, and therefore they will succeed in these unfamiliar environments. I would say NOFA's really helped me with that sort of thing. Ulfa and NOFA has really helped me with that sort of thing, because you're going somewhere where you've never been, you don't know who you're going to be with, you don't know who your pastoral group is going to be, who their pastoral leader is. You've got to learn who they are within your first day or two, and because you've got to spend time with them every day, and then they sort of become your friends and the people you can rely on if you're there.
Yeah, I agree with Harrison. I think getting to know young people individually and treating them as individuals, and just giving time to developing that relationship, kind of being aware that you might not see all of who a person is all at once, that they might need some time and encouragement to show themselves and to thrive. And then I think also in terms of planning activities, just breaking things down, planning activities that keep everyone on their toes and engaged, and also not being afraid to sort of try things. If they don't work, just moving on, and just sort of but just kind of getting to know young people individually and as a group, and figuring out what works for them. And also I think, kind of Harrison's touching on this, giving young people a voice in things, including them in planning, and giving them an opportunity to share what they want, what will help them to learn and to thrive and to do their best.
Such positive messages that I always find coming out of NOFA, and it's been wonderful speaking kind of to you two to really hear in depth the change that OFA can effectuate, and what working with young people really means, because obviously that can mean lots of different things, and support comes in various different guises, but that there's a real buzz, I think, with working with music and young people. Now I think what we'd all love to hear really is what can we expect from OFA in the coming weeks and months. Hopefully there's hopefully restrictions can ease, and we can return to those wonderful, vibrant live concerts and gigs, but what can we expect in the coming weeks?
Absolutely. Well, as long as we are social distancing to keep everyone safe, we've got some slightly more developed online delivery programs in the pipeline. We're really excited to get all National Orchestra For All together again, and we've just recently completed our nominations process, because NOFA's not auditioned. It's teachers nominate young people to join the orchestra, and we've just completed that process, and so we're really excited to start getting to know our new NOFA members as well. We will be sharing online on our Facebook page and on YouTube what our National Orchestra For All members have been getting up to, and we'll also hopefully be sharing some activity from young people involved in our modulo programme as well, which is our schools programme, but we're currently talking to our network of teachers at the moment to figure out how to support them best, and how to help them to keep their young people making music during this time. So that's kind of what we've got coming up.
Wonderful. And Harrison, what are you most looking forward to with regard to OFA kind of coming up?
I think we had the next season, instead of being the usual 1 year, was meant to be our 10 years anniversary. So it's meant to be a new 2-year program. So as I was informed about, it's meant to be the first year was supposed to be exploring music that made Nova great in the first 10 years. And the second part of that was creating our own music from that and making a whole season about that. It was a great idea to do, and it would look to come back to our roots as what made Nova great originally, and now to explore the new ideas we had with composing our own pieces, working together with new conductors who are not necessarily used to working with an orchestra, used to working with smaller groups or instruments that are not normally found in the orchestra, and also giving us as an orchestra a chance to work with groups we never worked with before. Because in one year we worked with a rap group and a spoken word artist, which was very different for a lot of us. Because obviously, if you play in an orchestra, you're used to a more classical setting rather than something a lot more modern and urban, such as ideas of rap, grime, anything and more like that. Yeah. Myself as a trombone player, we're more. I'm not really an orchestral trombonist. I'm more as a show and jazz trombonist. We're kind of a different breed. We kind of mess around with our music. We're a bit more adventurous, and it's always fun to come back to Nova just so I can make sure I work on my major techniques, which help with all the expansive stuff I was doing. I was part of our pit group for our musical at University of Chicago, and we were pretty much finished that. But because of the COVID crisis, we had to postpone and cancel the show. So it really helped having a background to music with Nova and the ability to perform in smaller groups really helped with preparing for that show, and then working with another group, working with the dancers, the singers, everyone else to put this whole show together. It was looking to be fantastic according to the musical directors and the rest of the team. So disappointed we couldn't get through that, but obviously music just helps in pretty much everything, every walk of life, every idea, every situation, I would guess.
Yeah. And it's exactly that, as you've just said. Despite everything that's going on and despite all the disruption, music is something that accompanies you wherever you are. So you don't necessarily need others to appreciate music, but also, modern day technology allows collaboration of music, across all kind of mediums. So yeah, that's really wonderful to hear that there's still so much to look forward to. You're still able to contact your musical directors, you're still able to collaborate and make music, and even though celebrations for the 10th anniversary may be slightly altered, that we can still look forward to a lot of that.
So that our season is we've pushed it back slightly inevitably, but that will still, as Harrison was describing, that will all be happening. We're really excited to get everyone together again. We're all about sort of pushing the boundaries of orchestral music making, and as I say, giving a voice to the young musicians and getting them to kind of tell the story and create an ensemble that is theirs.
Great, brilliant. Well, thank you both of you very, very much for coming on to join us. I'd just like to say at this point that I'd like to say that the QT course, the Qualified Tutor course that we've been working on so hard for the last few months is launching this coming week. So if you are interested in taking leveling up as a tutor and gaining the support and the skills that you will need to train properly as a tutor, then please visit our website www.qualifiedtutor.org and enroll on the pages there. I'd also like to give a small shout out to Radio Fido, an independent kind of podcasting networking site, free to use for podcasters who are doing a wonderful job there at connecting independent podcasters. But thank you, both of you, Harrison and Anna, for coming on. We've covered really quite a lot there. I hope you've been able to kind of, sometimes it's really very, very helpful, very cathartic to kind of to say out loud the things that you've been doing, to talk about, the brilliant skills and programs that you have to offer. So I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it's been great to chat.
Yeah, I'm just glad we got the opportunity to express ourselves and advocate for music in all walks of life and mainly in education. Yeah, exactly. So please do continue to do that, Harrison. If you've if you've enjoyed this, then spread the word, spread the message. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to hear. So thank you very much, both, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to you both very, very soon.
But that's very, very kind of you.
Thanks, Ludo.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Qualified Tutor podcast, where tutors share their expertise to support the tutoring community. We're always looking for motivated tutors to interview on the show. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, get in touch at podcast@qualifiedtutor.org. We'd love to learn from you.